Muito boa noite, sejam muito bem-vindos a mais uma sessão. Hoje temos aqui um orador muito especial, que veio de muito longe e que está aqui presente para nos presenciar este momento sobre vocação e missão. Antes de apresentar também o Alexandre Havard, agradecer primeiro que tudo à organização, ao Oratório São José Maria, por ter acolhido em colaboração com o Cenofa este conjunto de palestras muito interessantes, inspiradoras, e esperemos que hoje seja certamente mais uma com Alexandre Havard. Agradecer em especial também não só à equipa da Associação Liderança Virtuosa em Portugal, mas também ao Padre Miguel Cabral, à Inês de Bragança, que foram duas pessoas, sem dúvida, imprescindíveis na dinamização deste evento hoje. Muito obrigado. Um aplauso para eles também, que bem merecem. O Alexandre Havard nasceu e cresceu em Paris. Formou-se em Direito pela Universidade René Descartes e exerceu a sua profissão de advogado em Paris, Estrasburgo e Helsínquia, até descobrir a sua grande missão: atear nos corações a magnanimidade e formar uma nova geração de líderes virtuosos. Uma missão muito impactante. Havard é conhecido pela sua abordagem única, que combina-se não só os princípios de liderança com as virtudes humanas essenciais. O seu sistema de liderança virtuosa, o Virtuous Leadership, tem impactado líderes em diversos setores, capacitando-os de alcançar a excelência pessoal e profissional por meio da prática das virtudes, das quatro virtudes cardeais, e depois a humildade e a magnanimidade. Mas ninguém melhor que o próprio autor para depois explicar melhor como alcançar estas virtudes. Com uma carreira dedicada à formação de líderes e profissionais em todo o mundo, Alexandre Havard tem inspirado indivíduos a alcançar o seu potencial máximo, promovendo valores fundamentais e uma abordagem ética na liderança, que a palavra ética é muito importante. A sua abordagem inovadora e inspiradora tem sido amplamente reconhecida e tem influenciado positivamente a maneira como os líderes encaram os desafios do seu dia-a-dia. Ao apresentar Alexandre Havard e o seu sistema de liderança virtuosa, os participantes, nós todos aqui presentes, teremos a oportunidade de mergulhar nestes conceitos únicos de simples gestão, mas profunda também gestão, buscando aqui um pouco esta liderança autêntica, baseada nos princípios sólidos e valores nobres. Também acrescentar que este evento e a presença do Alexandre Havard só é possível porque existe também uma associação da liderança virtuosa, o Virtuous Leadership Portugal, que organiza esta vinda do Havard aqui em Portugal. Têm sido dias magníficos. O Havard chegou na terça-feira e já fez inúmeras palestras, nomeadamente na Católica no Porto, a Católica de Lisboa, na Ericeira, e hoje está aqui connosco e acho que devemos aproveitar ao máximo. A liderança virtuosa em Portugal já conta com 7, 8 anos, começou em 2016, 2017, teve a sua parte mais legal a partir de 2018. O Havard esteve em Portugal em 2017, 18 e 19, e depois teve aqui um gap de vários anos, calculem porquê. A pandemia não permitiu viajar, estivemos todos em casa, mas esses anos foram curiosamente os anos onde tivemos o maior crescimento naquilo que era o impacto e naquilo que poderia ser a disseminação deste conceito de liderança virtuosa. Foi nesses anos que organizámos grande parte dos eventos, masterclasses dadas pelo autor e fundador do sistema de liderança virtuosa, bem como masterminds, workshops, não só no temperamento ou caráter, mas também da vocação e sobre a missão. Foram mais de 10 workshops nos últimos 4 anos, mais de 500 formandos. Continuamos a contar, esperemos chegar aos 1000 participantes até o próximo ano. Quiçá estarmos aqui novamente com outra palestra do Alexandre Havard, que será sempre muito enriquecedor para todos nós. Sem mais delongas, dizer também que temos vários livros já traduzidos. Ele conta com inúmeros livros já publicados em mais de 20 idiomas por todo o mundo. Tem um impacto internacional brilhante. Em Portugal estamos apenas a começar e temos uma equipa que acho que também merece todo o reconhecimento pelo trabalho que tem sido feito para dinamizar o trabalho do Alexandre Havard e estes conceitos tão importantes naquilo que é a nossa liderança pessoal e profissional. Os livros estão lá fora, estão mais do que à vontade. Se quiserem também deixar o vosso contacto para receberem mais informações, temos tudo no nosso site, temos no LinkedIn, portanto estão à luz de um clique da internet, como se costuma dizer. Temos também um novo livro, que é Um Coração Livre, que é o mais recente livro do Alexandre Havard, que assim que foi lançado na sua língua-mãe, no francês, foi traduzido em menos de 4 meses e hoje temos a possibilidade de termos esse livro bem fresquinho aí à venda, portanto no final, se quiserem, também o podem adquirir. Hoje, agora passo sim a apresentar o Alexandre Havard. Não é todos os dias que temos o Havard em Portugal para falar-nos destes conceitos de liderança virtuosa, mas certamente que sempre que o faz é magnânimo. Um grande aplauso, Alexandre Havard.
Thank you very much. Do you hear me well? Yeah. I always ask this question because one time I was giving a talk in Finland. I spoke 1 hour and a half. And in the end of the talk, I asked people, did you understand? They said no, because the microphone was not working. This is Finland. Finland is a very specific place. People are very shy. They don't stop the guy that is speaking. Well, I want to thank very much for those people who organized this beautiful event. I'm very happy to see you here. It's been now 3 days. I've been in Portugal. And this is one of our last events. I am a Frenchman. I am a Frenchman because I was born in France, in Paris. But I'm not only French, I am also French, I am Georgian, and I'm Russian. I have 2 Russian grandparents who escaped Soviet Union in 1920. They went to Paris, they married in Paris. They were great people. I had a Georgian grandfather who also escaped Soviet Union in 1926. He went to Paris. Paris was a second homeland for many of those guys. And he married the daughter of a French general. So I am French, Russian, Georgian. I like to speak about my grandparents, and you will see this has a lot to do with our topic today. Discovering a mission. I spent, when I was young, a lot of time with my grandparents. I was very lucky. Not everyone has the opportunity to spend a lot of time with his grandparents. I spent a lot of time with each one of them, and I heard a lot of things from them. They were great people. They had suffered a lot. They left their country that they loved. A lot of blood, revolutions, civil wars. And they transmitted to us, the kids, their grandchildren, very interesting things. I got so many things from them that I understand that they still go on living in me. And I see many things in what I am doing that in the end of the day is a reflection of what I got from each one of my grandparents. So I will come back to this after. I studied law. I became a lawyer in Paris, in Strasbourg. And then when I was 26 years old, I moved to Finland, Helsinki. And I lived in Finland 18 years. And during the last 18 years, I've been living in Moscow. I came back to the country of my grandparents. And I thought I had to do this because I received so many great things from my grandparents that I thought that when communism will collapse, I will have to go back to Russia because this is the country from which I received so much through my grandparents, from a spiritual, from a cultural, from a human perspective. So this was a dream, and that dream came true when I was 45 years old. When I was 45 years old, this is 17 years ago, I moved to Russia. And from Russia, I move all over the world because I've been doing, during the last 30 years, virtuous leadership. And people are interested in this topic all over the world. So I have to go to China, to Asia, to Australia, to Africa, South America. Thanks God, God gave me many languages. I speak Russian because my grandparents taught me Russian. I speak English because everybody speaks English. I speak Spanish because my mother was a teacher of Spanish. French is my mother tongue, and I had to learn Finnish in Finland, which is a very complicated stuff. Finnish language is not an Indo-European language, so it doesn't look like anything else. So thanks God, I received the gift of languages, so I can teach in almost all over the world, except in China and in India, but I don't go there every day. So, and here I am with you in Portugal, and people ask me very often, what happened to you, Alex? You were a lawyer. What are you doing now? What's that? Virtuous leadership. The truth is very simple. It has to do with our topic. I am telling you my story in order to illustrate the topic we're going to speak about. Because before speaking about something, you have to experience it yourself. All my topics are very practical. They are deep. There's deep philosophy inside each topic. I try to explain people, but at the same time, there is a lot of illustrations from the life of different people, and from also illustrations from my personal experience. So when I was in Finland, I was asked to give a course on history of European integration. I was a lawyer, that's normal. I was supposed to know things about Europe. And then I had 40 hours with great students in Finland. That was more than 30 years ago. And I had to give a class on the history of European integration. So I had to speak about the founders of European Union. Alcide de Gasperi, Konrad Adenauer, Robert Schuman. They were extraordinary human beings. European Union today, unfortunately, has nothing to do with what these guys have done. But that's another problem. It's another topic for another time. Today we're not going to speak about European Union. But the founders of European Union were extraordinary human beings. And my students were amazed. It was a class of law. I was supposed to teach law. And I spoke to them about people. And the students were just amazed about the greatness of those founders. And they were asking me incredible questions. How do you dream like those guys? How do you transform a dream into a mission? Into action? What's the difference between virtue and a value? Because we speak a lot about values today, and we don't speak at all about virtues. And virtues are more important than values. I mean, virtues are very specific value. It is a dynamic force that gives you the capacity to do things. They are inside yourself. They are a part of what you are. And the values are something outside yourself, something you believe in, something you value. So virtues are very important in order to achieve your values. If you don't have virtues, you cannot achieve your values. So I speak a lot about virtues, and they ask me, what's the difference between a virtue and a value? What's the difference between biological temperament and spiritual character? And the difference between what is innate in you and what you develop with time through training, through education, through freedom, virtues, virtus. So they were asking me very interesting things, and I understood them very well. And I had education in philosophy, not only in law. So I could find answers for my students. But then I thought, well, Alex, if your students are asking you those things, it's because they need answers. And the university is not giving answers. The university is giving them informations. And what they're asking for is not informations. They're asking for formation, education. Educere, the word educare, to educate, comes from the word educere, which means to bring out the best in people. This is what education is about. It's not about instilling knowledge in the heads of people. It's about transforming them. It's about discovering their greatness, their talents, and helping them multiply this and find a meaning in their work, a meaning in their lives. So I quit with law. I decided to quit with law and to dedicate myself to this. And I give a name, virtuous leadership. And in virtuous leadership, we speak about many things. We have many topics. And I speak about how do you move from biological temperament to spiritual character. I help people identify the virtue that is a challenge for each kind of temperament. We have a topic about discovering magnanimity. How do you practice the virtue of greatness? Magnanimity. We have a course on how to develop the virtue of humility, which is the virtue of service. We have a course on education of the heart, because the problem in modern society is that we have a lot of rationalists, a lot of sentimentalists, and a lot of voluntarists. The heart is not working well. You have people of the intellect without heart and without will. We have people of the feelings without intellect and without will. And those people, we have millions of them nowadays. And you have people of the ideology, the voluntarist people, people of the will, only the will without any intellect and without any heart. So I wrote that book, Free Hearts. Free Hearts, about this topic, how to help us understand how the heart, the intellect, and the will should go together all the time. And how you do this. And then we have a topic, which is the topic I want to talk to you about today, because people ask me to talk about this one. It is a topic about discovering your mission in life. It's a very complicated thing, a mission. People want to have a mission. Everyone, every people I know, every guy I know wants to know what's help me, Alex, discover my mission in life. I want my life to have a meaning. I want to understand what I am doing with my life. And I had to think a lot about what's a mission. And I came to the conclusion that a mission, it is a specific contribution to humanity. It is something very specific to each one of you. There is no general mission. For instance, to be a mother, it's not a mission. It's very important to be a mother for your kids. To be a father for your kids, it's a very important thing. But it is not specific. It's not you. You are more than that. Your mission, it is the very specificity of your life, which means that you have to have a very high level of self-knowledge. You have to know yourself very well. You have to know what your talents are. You have to know your history. Where do I come from? What's my cultural background? What's my country? What are the things I get since I was very young? What are my biological strengths? What are the spiritual gifts I got from God? What are my specific talents? What's my life about? So it's a very complicated thing. Many people confuse those two words, vocation and mission. It's not the same thing. A mission, a vocation, it's a call to be someone. It's a call to being. It comes from the Latin word vocare, You're called by God to be someone. That's something that has to do with, I would say, natural religiosity, with the personal relation with each one of us, with God, the Father, and try to understand what does He want me not to do, but to become. A vocation is not about doing something. It's a call to be someone in a specific way. It's something that has to do with the natural religiosity of human beings. A mission, it's a call to action. It is what are you called to do? Mission comes from missere, I mean to be sent. You're sent to do something. You're not sent to become someone. You're sent to do things. So a vocation is something religious. When I mean religious, I mean not only spiritual, I mean spiritual, which has to do with the religious sense of each one of us. A mission has to do with the very specificity of your life, with your talents, with your culture, with your personal history. And this is much more complicated. It is much more complicated to discover a mission in life than to discover a vocation. And you have a lot of people that have a vocation, but they never discover their mission. Because they think, I have a vocation, it's okay, everything is here. No, not everything is here. Almost nothing is here. A vocation, it's a call to being. It's a call to be saint in Christianity. But a mission, it's a call to do something with your life, according to who you are, according to the very specificity of your being. And this requires a lot of reflection. That's why for many people, it takes years to understand what their mission is. Because, first of all, they have to understand who they are. Who am I? What are my strengths? My spiritual strength, my biological strength? What are the gifts I have received from life, from nature, from God? And a lot of people don't do this examination. And they say, well, I have a vocation. That's okay. I am a Christian, I am baptized, I have a vocation to holiness. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful beginning. That's, I would say, this is a frame for your life. But it's not the content of it. The content is you yourself. Who are you? You're a specific being. And you have to get to know yourself very well. You have to have a high level of self-knowledge in order to understand what's going on now. How did I discover my mission? My mission is very simple: igniting hearts for greatness. I speak about myself because I want you to understand the process of discovering a mission, and I will give you, of course, other examples. As I told you at the beginning, I had incredible great parents. My grandparents were extraordinary human beings. There was greatness in their life, a lot of greatness, great stuff, beautiful souls, beautiful minds. When I began university in the 1980s, I began to understand that the world was not exactly the same world as the world that I received from my grandparents. It was just after the sexual revolution in France. It was a world of pusillanimity, small-mindedness, small-heartedness. I began to see things that had nothing to do with what I received when I was a kid. And I began to think little by little, almost unconsciously, what am I going to do with this? I became a lawyer and tried to do my job I got experience in many things. I met a lot of people in my profession. I went to the jails. I defended criminals. I freed criminals from jail. This is the job of a lawyer. I did what I could. But then there was this event, this encounter at Helsinki University with my students. And my students helped me understand, Alex, you have something specific. There is something specific in you. You speak a lot about greatness. You speak about self-transformation. You speak about becoming a great person. You speak about virtuous leadership. Why do you speak about those things that are so important and other people don't speak about it? And then I begin to understand, yeah, I speak about those things because I'm born with that. This is my talent. This is something I received from life. I received from my grandparents. And it's a part of me. My grandparents go on living in me. This is my history. This is my personal story. And I have to tell myself my story in order to understand myself well. And my students help me understand myself, help me understand the specificity of my being. And then a mission, it's who are you? High level of self-knowledge. And the problem in society, in an organization, in family, whatever it is, you see who you are, you see the talents you've received, you're aware of those things, and you see the problem, and you put those two things together, and you begin to build a mission. You begin to see the light of your mission in life. You begin to see what's your specificity and what is the challenge you're called to, according to that very specificity that you have. So a mission cannot be generic. It has to be very specific. That's why it's very hard to define a mission. Igniting hearts for greatness. I discovered that I was first of all talking to the hearts of people. Inspiring hearts of people. I was not doing what the majority of people do nowadays, which is speaking to the intellect. People speak a lot to the intellect of people. They want to be very rational. I discovered when I began to teach, I began to speak with my students, that I was, in the end of the day, speaking to the hearts of people. And of course, I was speaking also to the intellect and to the will of those guys. But fundamentally, it was inspiring their heart, first of all. So igniting hearts for greatness. I'm speaking a lot about greatness, about magnanimity, about going against this ideology of pusillanimity, of zombification, of being a small person, of being the consumer, of being an animal, having an easy life. So I was going against the current. I was going against that general trend, speaking about magnanimity and about greatness. This is something very specific. The heart is something very specific. Igniting hearts for greatness. This is what I have been trying to do unconsciously for many years. Until one day I tried to formulate it, and I formulated my mission, igniting hearts for greatness. This was the process of understanding myself, on understanding what is my contribution to humanity, my specific contribution to humanity. If I would have another history, my mission would be something different. If I would have other talents, my mission would be different. It's because I understood my history, personal history. It's because I understood my talents, and many people helped me understand that. First of all, my students at Helsinki University, that I came to that conclusion that what I am doing, it's this. I am not teaching. I am not just inspiring people. I am igniting hearts for greatness. And it took time, it took many years for me to come to this conclusion. I give you some examples because I want you to understand that this is a process. I had a very good friend, Jérôme Lejeune. He's a very famous guy. He would be much more famous in the future. He's the guy who discovered in 1958 the cause of Down syndrome, trisomia 21. He's the greatest genetist of the 21st century. He was 38 years old when in Paris they created for him the chair in the Sorbonne University, the chair of fundamental genetics. He was invited in San Francisco in 1969 to receive the big award, a big prize, the biggest prize in genetics in the world. He went to San Francisco. And he began to talk before the speech. He had to give a speech because he was receiving an award. He began to speak with the people around, with the medical doctors, with those scientists, and many, he knew them for years. And many told him, look, Jérôme, thank you very much for your discovery, because now we can identify the children with Down syndrome and the womb of the mother, and then we can kill them. Jérôme was shocked. Of course, he made an incredible discovery, and people were going to use the discovery in order to kill human beings. He took the microphone, and at the moment he took the microphone, he understood what is his mission in life. His mission is to speak the scientific truth about the beginning of human life. And he will do this until the very last day of his life. He thought, I'm not a bishop, I'm not a theologian, I'm not a philosopher, I am a geneticist. I have a great talent in genetics. I'm the most famous geneticist in the world because of that discovery I did a few years ago. I am a man of science. My mission, I try to explain you how he was thinking. My mission is something scientific. I have to speak the scientific truth about the beginning of human life. I'm not going to speak about moral theology. I'm not going to speak about Christianity. I'm going to speak about genetics. He opened his mouth and he said to all those people around that were listening to him, all those medical doctors, scientists, he told them, as a scientist, as a geneticist, to whom you're today giving a prize, I tell you, genetics tells us that if a human being is not a human being at the moment of conception, it will never be a human being. And you all know this. That's just incredible. At that moment, he understood he lost the Nobel Prize. And he called his wife, he say, today I lost my Nobel Prize. He spoke the scientific truth. The guy in the room were shocked, were very afraid, because he was speaking as a scientist. He was speaking like one of them. He understood his mission was going to speak the truth, but not the theological truth, to speak the scientific truth. That was the very specificity of Lejeune, to speak the scientific truth. And he was brilliant. He was a phlegmatic, so he was very peaceful. Very peaceful, very convincing, very rational. Scientific approach to reality, dispassionate. He was a great talker, a great speaker. And he was speaking all the time about this. My mission is to spread the scientific truth about the beginning of human life. And he did that all his life. And he died the day of Easter, 1994. And on his tomb, there are 4 letters, Greek letters, Nika. It means victory. Great guy. When the Pope John Paul II went to France, the first thing he did, after he got outside the plane, to take a car and to go to the tomb of Jerome, he was his friend. This is another kind of mission. It's a guy that understood, I have a mission in life because I have a specificity. I am a great scientist. I have a talent. I know how to speak scientifically. Of course I am a Catholic. Of course I am a Christian. But this is not my specificity. My specificity is that I am a geneticist. I am the top geneticist in the world. I know who I am. I'm going to use this talent for the best. And he will speak. He will speak until they will forbid him to speak. This is a mission. And how did he discover that mission? He discovered that mission by understanding who he is and by understanding the challenge that there is in modern society, the culture of death. The culture of death was beginning at the end of the 1960s. So he was at the very beginning of the culture of death. And he understood who I am, what's happening in the world. He put those 2 things together, and you have a mission. It's not easy, guys. I understand it's not easy. But what you see here in this process, you see that a mission really has to do with the specificity of your life. Who are you? And you have to tell yourself your story. I told myself my story. By the way, I wrote a book called My Russian Way. It's here in Portuguese. You can buy it. It's a book about, it's little to do with Russia. It's a book about how I came to my mission, how I came to understand what's my mission about. I ask my students all the time to write your story, at least 10 pages, in order to try to understand yourself. And my students say at the beginning all the time, well, that's a bit too heavy. I show them the job I've done. I show them my book. It's about 150 pages. And I tell them, you should not write 150 pages. When you're 20 years old, you cannot write 150 pages about yourself. But you should write 10 pages and think a little bit about all those gifts that you have. Where did you receive those gifts from? Who are you? And what could be your mission in life? Begin a process of thinking about yourself, thinking about your mission. It's not an easy job. But when you begin to write, you begin to think about all the people that have been influential in your life. Begin to think about the movies that have touched you, the books that have touched you, the books you like to read again, the movies you like to watch again. You begin to understand why. Why do I like those things? It speaks a lot about who you are. You know, you begin to think about those movies, you begin to write about those movies you watch and that have been influential for you, the books you've been reading that have been influential for you, the people that you've met in your life that has been influential, that gave positive influence to your life, your parents, your grandparents, what they've given to you, what is specific to each one of them. You have to do this job, guys. You have to do it. Even if you're not a writer. Even if you're not a writer, one day you have to stop and to begin to think about, who am I? Where do I come from? What's my talents? What are the things I do well? What are the things I do very well? And what's the relationship between what I do and what I'm called to do in the world? What is my contribution to humanity? You understand? So you have a lot of people that have a sense of vocation, but they have no sense of mission. And you see people from time to time that have a sense of mission because they understand what we're speaking about, but there is no natural religiosity in them. So they don't understand the frame of their life. They don't have a sense of vocation. So we people, we're Christians, we are called to both. We're called to have two things. We are called to have a frame for our life. That's his vocation. And to understand it. The frame. I'm called to be someone. I'm called to think. I'm called to feel. I'm called to do things in a very specific way. That is my vocation. But your mission, it's a call to do a very specific thing. It's not the call to do something in a specific way. That's a vocation. A mission is a call to do a specific thing. I guess you understand the difference. And a mission is something specific. That's why I see a lot of parents call to me, Alex, my mission is to be a good father. My mission is to be a good mother. And I tell them, no, it's not. That's not a mission. You have to be a good father. If not, you've collapsed as a father. You have to be a good mother. But that's not a specificity. You're much more than a mother. You're more than motherhood. You're more than fatherhood. You're a specific being with a specific history, with specific talents, with specific capabilities. And your mission has to be discovered in those specificities. It's not easy. But remember, the key word here is what's the specificity of my life? It's on that specificity you have to be concentrated, you have to contemplate that specificity of your life. And you have to write your story, begin to think about it, share your story with other people, tell them if they understand that. It's not easy, guys. It's not an easy topic. It's the most complicated of all the topics I am speaking about. It's the topic of how do you discover a mission. And when you begin to see some light about who you are, what your very specific talents are, your personal history, then you have to formulate your mission. You have to find the appropriate words. Very short. Your mission is to be short. Intense and short. You need to find a friend of yours who is a poet, because you have a tendency to put big sentences. You have friends that are good poets. Poets, symbolism, a few words, very intense. That's poetry. A very few words and very intense. This is the way to formulate a mission. So you can ask a friend, look, who is a poet, tell him, look, this is my mission, but it looks to be too big. help me put this 50 words in 3 words. And he will help you. And he can do that for you, with you. It's a formulation of a mission. Is to be nice, is to be attractive for yourself, first of all. You should think about your professional life. You think, well, when people ask you, what are you doing in life? I'm a businessman. I'm a lawyer. I'm a medical doctor. I sell ice creams. Okay. That's not very attractive. But when you tell people, my life is 3 things, and this I do every day. Whatever I do that. My mission, I implement it in my family, in my job, on the street, with my friends, with my employees, with my students, the same short stuff. short sentence, very clear. People will say, wow, this guy, that girl, she understands what's the meaning of her life. She's not in a box. She's herself. She has a contribution to humanity. She's not just doing a job. Her life is about something that is top, very high. First of all, you yourself have to understand that. Many of you, you work in companies, in organizations, let's say. And many of those organizations have a mission. Well, many have a mission that is a bullshit. It's not a mission. It's just to show that they have a mission to look good. But it's not a mission. It's a lie. Because what they want to do is they want to do money. They want to finance. In an organization, when there's a real mission, then all the objectives are submitted to the mission. Financial objectives, material objectives are submitted to the mission of the corporation. This is a good organization where there is a corporate culture. And when you make a decision, you have to think, this decision we're taking now, is it a decision that fits our mission? And in many organizations, they don't think about that. It's just about making money, so they make decisions that have nothing to do with their mission is about. Okay, so there is no meaning in the organization. There is no corporate culture in the organization. And the lady that comes at 5 o'clock in the morning, that is cleaning the office of the boss, if you ask that lady, what are you doing here now? She will tell you, why, I'm earning 500 rubles. $5. If she tells you this, that means that there is no mission in the corporation. If she tells you that I am implementing the mission of our corporation, this is what I am doing with my life at 5 o'clock in the morning in the office of the boss, it means that she is inspired by the whole mission. And the mission of the corporation has an impact on her life. It means that there is a corporate culture in the organization. It means that there is a real mission that is a part of the life of each one of the employees. There is a meaning here in her life. It's not just about making money. So when you work in a corporation, an organization, you have to think, what's the mission of this organization? And then you have to think, what's my mission? And you have to think, by implementing the mission of the organization, do I implement my personal mission? And if you come to the conclusion that no, you have to leave the organization. It's not for you. Because your personal mission is more important than the mission of the organization where you work in. You have to think, what's my life about? And what's the life about in this company? And then you will understand there is a way to put the mission of the organization inside my own mission. I can fulfill my personal mission working in this organization, because there is no contradiction between the mission of the organization and my personal mission. So your personal mission is something you should be implementing all the time. You see, all the time. Yeah, and then you have to think about what's the mission of the organization you're working for. What's the meaning of you working in such a company, in such an organization where you cannot fulfill your personal mission? There's no meaning. So your personal mission helps you understand what's your place also in different organizations where you could work. So that specificity is very important. So the key thing here is that my experience has been that I have met a lot of people really who never thought about their mission in life because they really they didn't think much about who they are, didn't think much about their talents, their personal history, the gifts they've received from God, from their country, from their parents, from their grandparents. They never made such an analysis, such an investigation. They never write these things down. They never came to a clear conclusion about who they are and what their specific contribution to humanity should be. And that's really a pity. That's really a pity. There is a frame, I repeat, the frame is a vocation. But the content of that, it's you, your specific mission in life. And you should not hire behind your vocation. You shouldn't say, I have a vocation, everything is okay. No, it's not serious, guys. You are a specific being with a specific talent, and God is expecting from you the multiplication of this talent. And the way to multiply this talent is through a personal mission. And this has to do with the virtue of magnanimity. The virtue of magnanimity, it is a virtue of great people. Magnanimous people want to have a mission. Small people, pusillanimous people don't care for a mission at all. They don't need a mission. Magnanimous people, people that are virtuous and people that want greatness for their lives and greatness for others, they understand that a mission is absolutely necessary in my life. I need a direction. I need to understand what I am doing with my life. What's my life about? And how do I keep faithful to what I am doing? How do I keep faithful to who I am? You need to have a mission. It's never too late to build a mission. And in fact, when you are not so young, it's easier to find a mission in life because you know yourself better. And when you are very, very young, you shouldn't be upset of the fact that you still don't understand what your mission is. I work with a lot of young people, and they come to me very often. I have discovered my mission in life, Alex. I tell them, you're 18 years old. When you're speaking about your mission, you don't even know yourself. You've never tried anything in life. You should go on working, thinking about your mission, obviously, but don't tell me that you have discovered it. It will take more years. You begin to know yourself well when you do different things, and when people come to you and tell you, this is great, this is you, this is something exceptional, this is very specific to you. We know your specificity. This is that. You get it? So when you're young, you may have the impression that you're losing time because you still don't know your mission. That's not right. You're not losing time. In fact, you're getting experience in order to get to know yourself better and to understand in a few years more precisely what's your mission in life. And all the experience you had before will help you move forward with that mission very quickly. Okay, and when you're older, you have more experience, you understand a bit better who you are, then it's maybe easier for you to formulate who you are. But at the same time, you understand, well, there are many things in my life I've been doing. These things have nothing to do with who I am. I've lost a lot of time doing things that really have nothing to do with who I am. I am someone else. You get it? So when you're very young, you're afraid because you don't know your mission. But you have to be patient and you have to go on working on yourself. And when you're old, it's easier for you to understand your mission, but at the same time you see that you've been losing a lot of time doing things that really, it's not you. You get it? So between people should more or less try and discover their mission when they're around 30 years old. Between 30 and 40 years old, you should have a very clear mission, a clear vision of what you are, what's your story, and what's next, and find the way to formulate that mission. And your mission is a direction. And then you understand, well, my mission is this, so I shouldn't do other things. I should focus on my mission. I should be close to my mission. I should focus on my mission. I should do the things that are related to my mission. This is my specificity. This is what I do well. This is my contribution to humanity, and I should focus on those things. You see it. So your life really get an incredible substance. It is what you are. Okay, so I try to communicate to you some ideas about discovering your mission, and it's a process, which means that you have to begin. You have to be courageous. You have to be daring. You have to begin to write, to tell you your story, to think about finding the appropriate words for that, and trying to understand your specificity, your talents. And you have to remember this has to do with greatness. This has to do with magnanimity. This has to do with this beautiful virtue that is magnanimity, which is the specific virtue of leaders. Discovering a mission has to do with leadership because it is magnanimity is the first specific virtue of leaders. It is the striving of the heart, the intellect, and the will towards great things. And if you want to do great things on earth, you have to know what's your mission in order to implement it and to have an extraordinary contribution to humanity. And that mission can be very simple. You should not be Jérôme Lejeune. You shouldn't be Alexander Havard. You are what you are. And your mission has to have the characteristic and the specificity of who you are. And you should not be afraid of speaking about your mission. Because all those gifts that you have, you've received them from God. So you've received them from God, which means that you have not to be proud of that. So your mission, it's just self-knowledge. It's not about being proud to people about what's your mission in life. Tell people, look, I think this is what I am. I've thought about that. This is my specificity. This is my talent. This is the challenge I see in society. And I formulate it that way. And I try to live according to that mission that is mine until the very last day of my life. This is my contribution to humanity. And this is what gives a meaning to my existence, to my life. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alexander Havard, for this amazing and inspirational speech and talk. How to ignite our hearts for greatness. This is how we can understand our vocation and discover our mission. Thank you very much. So now we have time for questions, and to lead that part of the questions and answers from Alexander Havard, which books you have there to follow what he was talking about today. We'll have here a person that is very important for the organization here in Portugal, that will lead this session. That person is not living currently in Portugal. She's in Brussels, in Belgium, but still she managed to carry out these trainings, these events, so to disseminate the word of Alexander Havard and the virtuous leadership in Portugal. Eu gostaria então de apresentar aqui a Maria do Rosário, Presidente da Associação de Liderança Virtuosa de Portugal, que vai conduzir esta sessão. Uma salva de palmas. As perguntas poderão ser feitas em português, estejam à vontade. E dizer que esqueci-me, temos vários eventos do temperamento ao caráter para conhecerem, para autoconhecermos. E depois temos a vocação e a missão que o Havard teve a falar hoje, portanto, que é a segunda parte dos nossos eventos. Força.
Muito boa noite. Então, eu estou aqui apenas para receber as vossas perguntas, se houver necessidade de traduzir, e ter a resposta do Alex. Portanto, não sei quem é a primeira pessoa que se quer lançar. Quem é o primeiro corajoso ou corajosa que se quer lançar numa pergunta? Muito bem. Podem fazer as perguntas em inglês ou em espanhol ou em português e pronto. E se for preciso eu traduzo. Se não, direto. Em russo também podem. Em russo.
Thank you very much for being here with us. So my question is, as much as I understood, we personally have a mission, but also I think a company has a mission. So the main mission for the company is to get money or to create money. So I would like to understand the relation between both. Thank you.
No, an organization, a business organization, have to make money. If not, you should become an association, okay? And ask money to other people. So business requires benefits. He told me, look, Alex, business is not about money. Business is about personal and organizational greatness. Money, it's obvious. There should be money. If there is no results, you should get out of business. But this is not the purpose of business. The purpose of business is organizational and personal greatness. And they achieved this in Michelin Company because from the very beginning, the founder of Michelin, Edouard Michelin, was a very magnanimous person. And his job was all the time to try to identify talents in order to help people move forward in life, develop creativity, freedom, spirit of enterprise in many people that became real leaders around him. So, and this is most efficient company in the world. It's number one in the tire industry in the world. So it works. So money is it's not the purpose of business. It is the necessity of business, but it's not the purpose of it. No money, no business, obviously. But if you say my business is about making money, I want to work for you because I love your corporate culture. Because I love the way you deal with people. I love the way you try to understand the talents of each person. And when you see some employees who say, well, I'm working for the number one. Alex, I'm working for the number one. I'm a great guy. I say, this is a poor guy. He's just proud of the fact that he's working for the number one in the market. This guy has no sense of personal life. He has no mission. He has no meaning. He's just making money, and he's proud of being in the company that is the number one in the world in his field. That's scaring. This guy is just a nobody. Scaring. Absolute void inside. You know, I spoke about that lady at 5 o'clock in the morning. She's working at the office of the boss. If she tells you I'm working because I need to work $50 per day to survive, then you have a problem here. If she tells you I'm doing this job because I feel a part of the whole mission of the organization, which is our specific contribution, then she is a part of the company. Her life has a mission. Her life has a meaning. And you elevate people. You make them better. Where there is a mission, you make people better. Where there is no mission, you make people worse. So remember those words of François Michelin. To make money, it's obvious. You have to make money in a business. If not, you should get out of business. But it is not the purpose of the organization. The purpose of any human organization, it's personal and organizational greatness. This is what you should speak about, not about making money. There should be result, there should be money, but it's not the purpose. It's just an objective. And an objective is not a mission. An objective has to be submitted to the mission. The mission is more important than the objective. In your life, it's the same. When you have a mission, you understand what are the objectives that you have to achieve in order to fulfill your mission. You know, a mission without objectives is nothing. But an objective without a mission, it's even worse. Worse. Why are you doing this? To earn money. Okay, but after you die, what's your life about? You were in a survival mode all your life, earning money to feed my dogs, my cats, and sometimes my wife and my children. What's that? It's not serious, you know. So and a lot of people want this. They want to understand this message. Remember one thing: a mission is higher than the objective. Objective without mission is nothing. A mission needs to have objectives. I repeat, because you have to implement your mission. You have to have objectives. But your mission is much higher. The criteria for decision making is your mission. The criteria for decision making is your mission on a personal level and on the level of the organization. And you have to remind this to people all the time. When you are in an organization, in a board of directors, you have to remind people, look, the decision we're doing now, this has nothing to do with our mission. This is even the opposite of what our mission is in life. There is a nice lady. Her name was Mother Teresa. She had a mission. She said, I wanted to be a mother for the poorest of the poor. A mother. My mission is motherhood, spiritual, not physical. Obviously, she was a nun. Is spiritual motherhood. This is a mission. To be a biological mother is not a mission. It's a great thing, but it's not a mission. But to be a spiritual mother, this is a mission. And she said, my mission is to be a spiritual mother for the poorest of the poor. So what I'm doing in my life, I'm not building hospitals. I'm not saving lives. I'm not a nurse. I'm a mother. So I'm here to die with those people that are dying. Those people that have never known love. People that have lived like animals, I want them to die like angels. And then business people came to her and said, Teresa, look, we have a lot of money to give you. Millions. Of course, they were Americans. Just be a nurse. Just do your job like everyone else. Build hospitals. Be a nurse. Multiply nurses around yourself. Help people be cured, be healed. We have billions of dollars for you. They are here waiting for you in a box. She looked at those guys. She smiled. And she went away. Why? Because she knew here and here what was her mission. I am a mother for those guys. I'm not a nurse. Get out of here. And that was the end of the story. This can happen to in our life many times. If we know our mission well, we understand our mission is a criteria for decision making. Any decision you do that is important, you should remember, what's my mission? To earn money that may kill me. That may kill me. You get it? And many people have tried in the history of humanity to manipulate people with great missions, just offering them money. When you're in business, you have to earn money. But it's not your mission. Thanks God. Business is much more than that. Business is a beautiful thing. Business is just incredible. I meet with businessmen every day, and I meet incredible people. They make money, but they never speak about it. They speak about their mission, about their contribution to the common good, about the specificity of the organization. And it's very pleasant to be with those guys. Very pleasant. Money is something like, it's obvious. There must be a result in the end of the month. If not, we have problems. Okay?
First of all, thank you very much for your presentation. I just have two quick questions. First of all, it's the link between values and mission, and how does it work? The values that we have and the mission that we have. And the other one is a mission fixed for life, or can be changed either through some traumatic event or something that changes us, or so? These two questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, look, the first thing is that, of course, your mission depends on very much on the values that you have. It's obvious. It's because it's you. As I told you, your mission, it's you. And so you are what you value, first of all. You're also your virtues, obviously. You are what you value. So it's obvious that your mission in life has to do with who you are, and then the values that are involved. Okay? But the mission also has to do with your biological temperament. If you're a choleric, it's not the same thing as being a melancholic. There are different strengths. Melancholic people, it's idea-oriented people. The choleric people, it's action-oriented. The sanguine people, it's people-oriented. The phlegmatic people, it's peace-oriented people. You know, so you can read this in my books that you see what you are. It's biology, spirit, values, virtues. You are many things, and you have to study all those different aspects of your personality: the biological ones that are innate, and the spiritual one that have been developed, the cultural one, the human ones, the environment. Many things you have to study about yourself, because you are a person. You're a human being, and there is a lot of substance in a human being. Substance that comes from very different parts. And then, so value, of course, has to be there. And then the second question you asked me, it's what? I forget it. Your mission can change. No, your mission shouldn't change. What you can do is to, with time, to become more precise about your mission. Because you're more experienced, you become to know yourself better, and then you see more precisely who you really are. You see? But your mission shouldn't change, because what you are is not changing. You are developing yourself, obviously, but the very substance of your being is not changing. The very substance of yourself is not changing. So that's why your mission normally does not change. And you don't have many missions. You have one mission that you practice all the time. That's why we say a mission should be short enough so that you can remember it all the time. But it should be intense enough so that you can practice it all the time. You know, in whatever you do, when you write, when you speak, when you're with people, when you're alone with yourself, whatever you do, you are implementing that mission. And so there are different ways of implementing a mission. Many ways. I mean, Jérôme Lejeune, he was speaking, he was writing, he was teaching, he was doing many different things. He was building houses for the pregnant woman. He was doing many different things in order to achieve that mission. Many things. So he understood. He has a clear mission, and that mission can be. There are many ways to be a mother. Mother Teresa, I'm a mother. There are many ways to be a mother during the day. There are many ways to speak the scientific truth during the day. There are many ways to ignite hearts for greatness during the day. So the question is not, you don't have a mission for the morning and a mission for the afternoon and a mission for lunchtime. Dramatic events can have a very positive impact on people, because dramatic events can help people understand that now they should have leadership in their lives. Many people one day understand that something about themselves is very important, and the dramatic event can make someone change his perspective in life, and then he begins to really have a mission. And very often those people that have had dramatic events, before there was nothing, there was nothingness. And the dramatic events help them understand that now they have to take their life seriously. And then they begin to forge a very serious mission for their life. But I've never heard about people that had a mission, then something dramatic happened, and then the mission is changing. I don't know those things. What I know is people that had no mission at all, a dramatic event, and now, guys, I got to begin. This, I know a lot of people like that. And they are extraordinary human beings because they have the experience of the spiritual void before that. And now with the dramatic event, something has happened, a kind of metanoia, a complete change in a vision of life. And then they become extraordinary leaders with very clear mission in life. This happens quite a lot. Yeah. You're not too tired, guys? Well, the topic we had today is very specific. It requires a lot of concentration. It's not easy, I understand. But this is the topic they asked me to speak to you about. We would have been speaking about the temperaments, we'd be laughing all the time. But if you want to laugh, just buy the book From Temperament to Character.
Alex, what are the characteristics of a good leader?
Magnanimity and humility. Greatness and service. Leadership is about achieving greatness by bringing out the greatness in others. This is what leaders do. They achieve greatness by bringing out the greatness in others. This is magnanimity, greatness, and humility, service to the others. 2 words.
Hello, thanks a lot. You mentioned self-knowledge as a key element to discover the mission. I was wondering, what are, in your opinion, the main tools that we can apply in order to increase our self-knowledge, and what are the main, I would say, things that we can do every day to be more self-aware of ourselves?
Well, as you know, self-awareness, self-knowledge is a very complicated thing, but you should investigate first your biological temperament. That's why I encourage you to get that book From Temperament to Character in order to know exactly what your temperaments are, because a temperament has a lot to do with the mission. Because if you are a choleric, you're a mover and shaker, you're born a manager. If you're a melancholic, you're born a dreamer. So very often in a process, in the development of an idea, first you have an idea that comes from a melancholic people, very often. Then you have a choleric guy who buys that idea and builds structures to spread that idea. Then you have the sanguine people that bring people around this idea. And then you have the phlegmatic people that systematize the idea, so that when passions and emotions and imagination collapse or ends up because people are tired, the system is still here and still working. So you'll see in my book, I explain this very well, that the different temperaments have to do with your mission. I am a melancholic type, melancholic choleric, which means that I'm a dreamer and I love ideas, but I am also a little bit of a choleric guy, so I like to move those ideas forwards. But I have to know this about myself in order to understand, well, you still have to push the ideas, Alex, and it's not easy for you because you're not born a manager, so you need to have people that help you move those things, this mission in life. So self-knowledge begins with this. What's my biological structure? What are my biological inclinations? What is the challenging virtue for me? And each temperament, it's a strength. So you have to know what's the strength of your temperament. Okay? First thing, what's the strength of my temperament? It's temperament strengths. Action, ideas, people, or peace, mediation. And then after, you have to think about your personal life. As I told you, parents, grandparents, everything you've received, dramatic events. There are many dramatic events in our life, sometimes not so dramatic, sometimes a little bit dramatic, but they are important. They are a part of what you are. And you have to remember and you have to contemplate those events. And you have to use your memory. And to use your memory, it's a moral exercise. Remember that. To memorize, it's a moral exercise because you remember things and you become a better person by remembering things, trying to forgive that has to be forgiven, trying to focus on that was positive. And this is why memorizing, trying to remember things, it's really a moral exercise, guys. That's why it makes you better. It makes you better to try to think about your past, to try to focus on the great things you have received, and try to forget about the other things. Or if you cannot forget about those things, at least to forgive what has to be forgiven. This makes you better. This is an impulsion in order to help you understand what's your real mission in life. If you're negative, if you're pessimistic, if you see everything dark, you cannot come to a mission. It's impossible. You build fortress around yourself. Fortress. Don't touch me. When a mission is about expanding yourself to the whole of humanity. So memorizing, writing down your story, it's a moral exercise, guys. And when we read the way people write about their lives, we have a vision of that person. Not because of what he has experienced, but because of the way he's speaking of what he has experienced. And the way of speaking of what you have experienced shows how you remember the things. And the way you remember the things show who you are as a human being. It's a moral exercise. So that's why it's very important to write your personal biography and try to write it according to who you are and according to how you've been assimilating that. The bad things, the good things, the terrific things, the dramatic things. How do you use this for the good? You know, how do you use this for the good? So I encourage you to do this. And little by little, you will get that self-knowledge. It's a long process. Okay, one last question.
Hi. You talked a lot about greatness and the impact that someone's mission has in the world, in the environment, in the people around. But the question is, everyone's mission has to have that impact, or could, for example, someone's mission be more simple, or a mission that has no impact, or at least a visible impact in the others in the environment?
Yeah, 99% of missions that are beautiful, transcendent, extraordinary are very simple things. But they are specific. And they fit that person. You know, they fit that person. So you should remember that I've given you some example of people that I know. I give you the example of my mission, although my mission is quite simple, igniting hearts for greatness. I could do this in very different ways. The thing is that 99% of people, they have mission that they don't look extraordinary, but they should be extraordinary for themselves. You know, the impact you have on the world. First of all, it's the impact you have on the people that surrounds you, your family, your friends. This is the way we change the world. So this is the way to think about it. Many people have a mission and they are not known at all, but they understand well what their mission is, and their impact. Only God knows what the impact of this. You get it? Well, Jérôme Lejeune, what's the impact? Nobody knows. It seems that he didn't succeed. People didn't follow him. The culture of death is going on. You're okay? He had an impact on many people. He had an impact on me. He had impact on many people on earth. But did he succeed? We don't know. We know he succeeded because when you do the good job, you always succeed in the end of God. Success is not a word. The true word is fullness of life. And if you achieve fullness of life, you're okay. Don't teach success to people. It means nothing. Did Joan of Arc achieve success? She was burned at the stake at 19 years old. Did Thomas More achieve success? He was beheaded. You get it? So it's about success. This is not a word. You just think about other things. Fullness of life, plenitude of life. You know, to be an excellent human being, to be magnanimous, to be a servant of humanity, to have a great mission. You do your job, you have the impact you have. And even if nobody knows you, you have a true impact on the history of humanity. It's a hidden, it's a mystical impact. Nobody really knows how it works. That's it. So you shouldn't look for impact that is visible. You should do the job. If people say you're a great guy, you have a lot of talents, it's beautiful, we want to listen to you. Okay, go and do what people want you to do. But if nobody never calls you, never tells you anything, just go on doing what you're doing. Just go and do what you're doing. It's not success is not. It's not a word for a leader. It's not a business. It's not. It's not. It's a business word, of course. You have to be successful, materially speaking. If not, you have no future. But it is not a spiritual word. The spiritual word is fullness of life. This is what it is. And then you will have an impact on people. Whether you want it or not, you have an impact on people. And this is your contribution to humanity. And if it's an impact on only 2 or 3 people, it's good. You know, when you look at the life of great leaders in politics, you see behind those guys always a great mother, absolutely unknown, that has had an impact that is just incredible. But nobody knows even the name of that lady. You follow me? Nobody knows what's her name. Nobody writes about her. Unknown. And she was very often 10 times more magnanimous than the son or the daughter. Life is this. You have people that do things that are famous, okay, and others do things that are not famous at all. But what they are doing is maybe much more important. Okay, so it's not a criteria for judgment, impact, success. It's not a criteria for virtuous leadership. Thank you, guys.